Hi, my name is Allie. I'm on the affirmative side, stating that the federal government should ban fracking near fault lines, bodies of water, and residential areas. Our first point is that banning fracking near bodies of water, residential areas, and fault lines will prevent harm to surrounding areas. First off, being pollution. As of right now, there's a lack of regulation for water. In a study done in 2012, Hasenberger and Terrence engineers found that the examination of legal structures regulating hydraulic fracturing provides numerous examples of negative impacts on water quality as a result of poor management of drilling activities. In other words, there isn't enough management to prevent problems. They then go on to say, to strengthen the protection of water sources in the Marcellus Shale region, which was the specific region they were looking at, federal regulatory exemptions for oil and gas exploration should be deleted, and additional resources should be allocated to the management of environmental risks accompanying hydraulic fracturing. In other words, they're saying that right now there are exemptions for fracking, saying yes, you can frack, you can do some fracking in this area, but they're saying that that should be removed so that there can be more funds allocated to environmental risk management. So furthermore, fracking has been shown to increase water pollution. In a study done in 2013, they looked at the difference between a well that was not used for fracking in 1980 versus today, or at least the day of 2013. They found that the concentration of water around the fracking facilities found concentrations of arsenic in modern samples that exceeded the maximum contaminant level of 14% of the wells, which is notably higher than the 7.5% exceedance that was in the historic groundwater wells. Similarly, there's concentrations of nitrate elevated by 5% due to the fracking in surrounding areas, whereas there was no sign of nitrate in the groundwater wells before. So I'll then go on to mention how fracking can lower the quality of life. In 2014, Burnett and Weber found that the negative relationship between housing appreciation and drilling intensity likely reflects a range of quality of life issues brought on by drilling, which include traffic, natural gas-related infrastructure on the landscape, lower air quality, noise, and contamination to groundwater-dependent homes. So the reason why the water is even affected is because the areas right now are not regulated enough, as stated earlier by Hasenberger and Terrence of 2013. I'll move on to talk about the earthquakes that are affected by fracking. USGS actually reported in their FAQs about fracking that the fracking-related activities do cause earthquakes, and even in an environmental forum called Our Environmental Complete, Craig Peace looked at the numbers of earthquakes before and after fracking became popular in 2015. Before 2000, earthquakes were greater than a magnitude of 3.0 on the Richter scale, occurred at a baseline of 1.6 per year in the state. But in 2015, there was over 900. So that's a 500-fold increase in earthquakes around fracking operations. So the USGS looked at Oklahoma specifically, and they found that in a few cases, yes, fracking does cause the earthquakes. The majority of earthquakes in Oklahoma since 2011 occurred in areas where oil is being produced by pumping massive volumes of water out of naturally fractured formations to extract smaller amounts of value of oil. And while they're finding that the natural formations are okay and don't cause as many earthquakes, most of the wells used to access the oil are actually completed with being fracked, which causes the earthquakes. And for a real-life example, in the past 2 months, there have been 5 earthquakes in California near fracking operations. This is quoted from USGS and Michael Janich. There have been 3 in Oklahoma, 2 in Texas, and 2 on Yellowstone. Finally, this is also, the negative side will also use fracking as an excuse to not look for more environmentally sound ways of collecting natural resources. And this was actually quoted on one of their sources. When is here? Sorry, Grace. So in 2014, Burnett and Weaver said many see drilling in shale as enabling the U.S. and others to delay transitioning to low-carbon renewable energy. And furthermore, Ed Rankish in 2015 said that because we are now relying on gas, especially because it is so cheap nowadays, since fracking is so effective at getting access to even the most difficult to reach deposits, we are no longer trying to find alternative energy sources. When we were worried about not being able to use cars, for instance, we started looking into solar-powered cars. The danger with fracking is that we are no longer looking for an alternative energy source, as the sun or the wind. Instead, we will pump harmful chemicals into our environment and cause global warming to happen faster. Just to reiterate, this was one of the sources that the opposing side used. So in conclusion, when the United States government bans fracking from sensitive areas such as fault lines, bodies of water, as well as residential areas, we will find less pollution in such areas, there will be less earthquakes, and we will have less excuses to avoid environmentally sound ways of renewable energy.